is.
All right, I think we're live, and I think we're even live, perhaps on Instagram. Hello, everyone.
Hello!
It's WUFO.
It's WUFO! Nah, nah, nah. Oh, so good to see everyone.
I didn't realize this was going to be a puppet show.
Who you calling a puppet, dude? I gotta go take a leak. All right, no, anyhow. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Is that you? Is somebody typing?
I think that's Kai.
Oh, keep typing. Okay, dig it.
Sorry,
it's like ASMR.
Yeah. Wow, how long has it been? When was the last WUFO?
I think it was like a year ago.
I think so.
I think we have a special guest.
Oh, we do?
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Surprise!
It's a circle!
Wow.
It's a ghost.
Is it coming through?
Can you? Is my transmission being received?
I see you. Yeah.
Yeah?
Hi.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. There's gonna be cat noises.
Oh, yeah, there you are.
The litter box is getting.
The litter box is doing something?
Can you do some like divination with read the tea
Fecal
leaves?
divination is a thing.
Yeah, it's on the map.
Yeah.
I'm already speechless.
You're on to something.
You know how to make a lady blush. Excellent.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I think y'all may relate to this up in the Northwest right now, but we have crazy winds going on, and we're expecting snow in the morning. So yesterday it was 70 degrees, and I set up a greenhouse. And then this morning I woke up and that greenhouse was about 50 feet that way. So
Wow.
I've been chasing greenhouses all morning. So that's what I've been up to. I just processed some negatives and we'll scan those in the morning. And, just being spooky and creepy and cute and doing the thing. I'm over in southern Indiana now, y'all. So weirdo friends unite over here on the East Coast. Oh, little cat scuffle.
So if the greenhouse was blowing around, technically that means you were chasing an aerial entity around, right?
Yeah.
That's what's been pointed out to me online, yes. I did post about it, actually. And multiple folks made that same observation. So yes. How are y'all doing?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Give it.
As good as... Yeah.
Awesome. I will say the cover that y'all designed for the WUFO Return tickled me because like the poltergeist hands at the little girl with the TV. Did I ever tell y'all about that story when I was a kid?
Yeah, I remember because I have this TV here that you were going to try to do something with. You should tell that story again.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming back to me now. So when I was a little girl, I don't know why, medically speaking, but I couldn't sleep very well for I remember being about 6 when it was like the peak, but I just like wandered around the house all night. And I remember like, camping outside my parents' door, and that didn't work. And so I would eventually find myself in front of the TV, and I don't remember why or how, but eventually it would always turn to static after a certain time. And it's so bizarre. I remember setting up this little blanket cot, this round cot, and I would sit in it right up against the TV, and I would just see all of these figures moving and like these weird like shadow pictures playing. And so the running joke right now is yeah, I was the poltergeist girl and I didn't know it. I remember some of the stuff I saw. It was really creepy.
Did you get that idea from or was that just on your own? You were just doing that?
I don't remember. I don't remember my parents like being interested in those types of movies, but who knows? I mean, it might have popped on. Anything could have been on.
Wow.
So.
I am so glad that our birthday twin psychic link is still strong, because I don't recall hearing that story, although it's not impossible that it was in there.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the birthday thing's a whole nother level too. It's really wild when you meet someone with everything lined up.
Yeah.
Zodiac wise. It's cool.
I did the design for us, so it's obviously that birthday connection.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sorry, my kitten is just okay, so I got a kitten. Willie's around here somewhere. Willie is also, you know, a WUFO veteran. Some of our first streams, he was bouncing around, causing havoc, and I just had no idea. But now we have Fozzie, if he'll ever come around, and he's a gray version of Willie, pretty much. Hi, did you hear your name? Come here. Oh, he's such a little chaos lord too, but I have 3 boys. But yeah, he's a little forest boy that we found, so oh boy. We gotta do the cat shots. That's also a WUFO thing,
right? Should we talk about, I don't know if there are some new people here, if we should talk about generally what we do on WUFO. Does anyone want to give the spiel?
Who?
Who's
you want to do it, Jeremy?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome. It's really awesome to see everybody, because I see so many old friends, and welcome if you're new, and if you're watching this tomorrow because you hear about how awesome it is on various social media outlets like Blue Sky. Actually, we're really all pretty active on Blue Sky right now, and Instagram and stuff. So WUFO is the Wednesday night UFO watch party, and it started in, holy crap, how long ago is it? Like 2018 maybe? Does that sound right?
Oh, I don't think it's that old. No,
2022, 2021. Yeah. Beck says.
Yeah.
2021. Okay. 2021. Our friend Madeline Kelly, the weird astrologer, they sent out a tweet that in the Mothman prophecies, John Keel says that the best time to see a UFO statistically is to go out at Wednesday at 10 o'clock at night. And we thought, well, okay, so let's do it. So we started going out at 10 o'clock at night on Wednesdays, and the live stream part actually kind of happened secondarily to that. I think we went out a few times before we started doing the live stream. Then we started doing the regular live stream, and before the 10 o'clock hour in your time zone every week. And one thing led to another, and we took some breaks, and some things happened and some things didn't. And then we took another break, and we tried to contact some dinosaurs. And then everything went to shit, and we thought, well, gosh, what a great opportunity to try and like get into some sort of community and do fun things again. Because I think we all kind of need it right now. So we're back. Was that enough? Do you think?
That's great. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay.
I watched a couple of our our first like TikTok streams or like the videos that we had saved from it. And I kind of forgot this, but it was it was just me in my room doing the S's by myself. And then I think we had like a transcriber, and we had someone else just kind of watching to make sure my room didn't catch on fire. And that was like our streaming start, and that's just so funny.
I forgot about that too. Yeah, that's true.
Right? I was looking back today. I made a presentation. I don't know if y'all remember, for Pan Paracon 2. We all made our own presentations, I believe. And mine was just a reflection on WUFO. I think at the time we were at like 40 weeks or something, which is just wild. But yeah, I flipped back through that today and some of our like most notable WUFO weeks and stuff, and just kind of remembering. And yeah, we did a lot of cool stuff.
Is there anything you recall like that stuck out as like something maybe you forgot?
The orcas. We never forget the orcas, but I remember us trying to contact orcas after one of our field trips that we did together. Garrett, Jeremy, and I, we went to Riparian Forest, and believe we contacted orcas. Garrett and I later saw orcas on our way home.
I know. I remember I was doing the SSE,
Yeah.
and I kept getting black and white as like words that came through. And then you and I were on the ferry boat like back on the way back, and there was these orcas jumping out. They're black and white, and I was like, you were like running for to see the whales. It was amazing. There's a TikTok of that. It's so good.
Just the sprinting.
Yeah.
That inspired our WUFO that week. And I believe we even tried to use some of like the, I don't know the technical term, but like the underwater microphones to try to contact them. Yeah, that's something I always loved, is the experimentation with like the vehicle of communication, not just like how we communicate, but like the devices and the methods. And that's like big credit to Garrett and Jeremy, especially, just all the different devices, all the different ideas. It was awesome. Whoever thought of that. It might have even been one of our friends in the chat who might have recommended it. I don't remember now. It's been a few years. But
yeah, I don't remember. But we have had some awesome guests on. Really, really good guests. And all of our archives that are available are still free on the Liminal Earth YouTube. So go check them out if you haven't. They are fun. But now we're moving forward. Oh no, did we lose Kai?
No, I just put them. They're there. Fine.
Oh, okay. Oh, Wi-Fi. I see. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. So we did a stargazing side quest for a while. We don't have Maitland involved with the project anymore, so we're looking for somebody who knows about astronomy and astrology, like really well. If we want to get that started again, I think that would be cool.
That was like such a great. It was like such a great aspect, because you go out, and I mean, I didn't know anything about this stars and skies, and it's one of my favorite things about WUFO is going out at 10 p.m. if you can, if you're able to, and like, you know, just having quiet time to look up at the stars for UFOs, and like you know, and I was learning all about the stars and the mythology and folklore about them, so it'd be great to have that back. Yeah.
Right. And I will say credit to Maitland, because Maitland was the person who first brought it to our attention that of the John Keel passage about Wednesdays at 10. So credit for credit's due there.
Totally.
Yes.
Cool. You know what else we do as part of this? It could be, well, I don't know. I kind of want to wait for Kai to do the snack report if they're white. So early on in WUFO, in the streams, there was this whole thing with like Martian entities. Was it Martin?
Yeah.
Martin the Martian.
Yeah.
And Martin and food kept coming up, like snack food. So we started to do a snack report. where you could talk about a snack that you're having now or a snack that you have enjoyed in the past, like one of Garrett's favorites, which is pickle juice and milk.
Coffee creamer, yeah.
Yes.
Which I drank during a WUFO once and regretted right away.
Yeah.
Martin was like one of the first things we contacted, I feel like, and that was like the message that kept coming out. So yeah, usually we have a snack, bring snacks to this. I got one of these. I haven't had one since I was a kid. Abba Zaba. And I got this too.
I've never heard of that. Is it because it's dated or because it's like not? What is that?
Chocolate and peanut butter. I don't remember if it's good or not.
So like a Reese's?
No, it's like let's see.
Can I say that?
It looks more like this. It's like really chewy.
Huh.
Yeah. Like almost like a Charleston Chew. But peanut buttery. Oh, it has peanut butter in it. Yeah.
Is it real peanut butter or is it like that half peanut butter, half sugar? Like that?
Yeah, I also got a Cyclops jawbreaker.
Nice.
Yeah, if people have snacks though, you can put them in the comments.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, I read somewhere today it's CJ's birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
So happy birthday.
And CJ's been doing a Twitch channel too.
Yeah. Yeah, put that in there too.
Yeah, I'd love to see.
In the chat.
Oh yeah, this is Bex making UFO pretzels.
That's right. Yes.
Which is somehow that came out during some divination we did.
Mm-hmm.
So Bex went ahead and made the pretzels.
And there was something else too. I forget.
All right, I got the full original snack count down from the transcription. Are you ready?
Oh yeah. Okay.
We have tarts, roasted, toasted, frozen, and hot dogs.
Hot dogs was a bit, yeah.
We got a little hot dog crazy there for a minute. Yeah, and we started doing food. We were like, should we just do food offerings because we think they're coming on an empty stomach or something?
Right.
That's funny. I'm going through the presentation to see if there's any other snacks. A fruity pie was mentioned. Pretzels, of course. Yeah, I think that's all I got. Lots of cats coming up.
We did Joe Simonton's pancake once.
Yeah.
I made that. I made a Joe Simonton pancake.
Right.
It was terrible. It's like unsalted buckwheat flour mixed with water and baked. Like that's the basic recipe. Yuck. So
My favorite thing about that story is that when he ate one, he was like, well, no wonder the aliens are so small. These are terrible pancakes.
That's awesome.
Right.
So we got some snack. Trader Joe's stuffing flavor chips.
Ooh.
Chocolate cake and Miller High Life.
That's a good
Nice.
thing. I did have onion rings earlier. That was pretty fitting. Yeah, onion rings.
There was a whole gummy moment for a while happening, right? If I remember correctly, or was that just my own personal WUFO decision?
Well, I always have a gummy.
See, I don't know why. I associate WUFO with corn for some reason. I think it's because of the corn that I didn't mean to grow, that I was watering with UFO water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but I have popcorn.
Well, and then didn't you do a contact session at the like
Oh,
corn graveyard place in Ohio?
I did.
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
Cornhenge.
And then
Yeah.
there is like a whole corn UFO thing of like crop circles and ET and Elliot goes to the corn in his backyard and signs. There's a bunch of like corn related UFO stuff.
Field
And
of
it-
Dreams.
Right, Field of Dreams. Yeah.
I think it counts. I mean, where'd they all come from,
No,
right?
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like I remember we were talking about like Persephone and Hades and Demeter, the corn,
Right.
you know, like grain goddess.
Yeah,
and like
absolutely.
that being kind of a UFO abduction story, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there is a corn connection for sure. That's why we should corn chips. That's canon for WUFO.
I don't have a snack with me right now, so I got nothing. What are you gonna do? Oh, here I'll talk about one that I want to make though. I saw this recipe. I can't remember where, but so if you go to Asian markets, you can get these like dried, like smelt or something. Like they're these tiny dried fish, right? Like the whole fish, just like a little sardine or anchovy or something like that. And they're dried out, but if you toss them in sesame oil and salt and you roast them, they're so good as a snack.
Oh,
They're like little crunchy, yummy fish chips. And I got some, and I'm like excited to make them. So there's my snack.
that sounds good.
We've also got moon puffs.
Is that like cheese? Is that little cheese things? I don't know what that is. Oh. Let's put up the donate link real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that.
And this is not to donate to us. This is to donate to someone else. If you go here, it will take you to the group that we're suggesting people donate to tonight.
Yep. And that group for us tonight is the Transgender Law Center, for reasons we hope should be obvious. If you follow along with us, and I think everybody watching probably already knows this, but just in case, we are like very, like, I don't know, Antifa. I don't know. Like, we're woke. Like, we're like, and we like to support causes we think are important to not only us, but also to our viewers and to their families and to our friends. So every time we do WUFO, we're going to try and come up with a different.
Yeah, and if you have a suggestion for the future, let us know so we can make sure to point in the right direction. It can be also just like an individual's, needing aid or something too. It doesn't have to be
mutual aid request.
Yeah, but just let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
On the schedule.
Next thing was we were gonna have Emily had a little activity, a quick activity.
Yeah.
Like an opening activity.
An opening ceremony.
Yeah. And I would like to, it will probably, I just dropped oil all over my floor. There we go. Spontaneity. I've been thinking about this for like weeks now, and now that I actually have to express it somehow, I have forgotten English. So essentially, one of the things that I have lately been wanting to explore, just because in my own thought process, I'm a theater person. I have always been a theater person. I was in theater for, as long as I can remember, essentially. And one of the things that has always remained true about theater in particular is that every theater on earth that you will walk into, any single one of them has a ghost. All of them. Every single theater, right? And I don't think that that is something, I think that it's something that's acknowledged in paranormal spaces, but I don't think it's really ever been anything that's been explored in paranormal spaces as to why it seems like all theater people have a connection with like high strangeness, and like all theaters have a connection with high strangeness. And I think that there is something inherent to the energy that comes from having your emotions so accessible and being in a space of spontaneity and creativity, and what kind of energy that puts out into the world. And so I would like to start exploring how play interacts with the phenomena more directly, to see if that assists with people's experiences, really. Because I will tell you, I mean, just from my end, every theater person I've ever met, no matter how like straightforward and normal they seem, they will all pull out a ghost story. All of them. We are extremely superstitious people by nature. Whether that's, I don't know, Shakespeare's fault or someone else's, I don't know. So I would really basically like to start opening with just like a tiny bit of improv. I scared Garrett when I said improv, I think, but it's not. I'm not going to make anyone do improv on camera. Like eventually I might make you dance around, but you don't have to be on camera. So that's great. I mean, you can be on camera if you want to, but we're not dancing around today anyway. So just in order to like warm us up to the idea, I thought that individually we could play a game that we call Cat Clock in theater spaces. And Cat Clock is pretty simple. So if you have a piece of paper and a pen, that's great, or a computer to type on, that is also great. You can also just do it in your head, doesn't matter. And the way that Cat Clock works is that I just need everybody individually to come up with two nouns, like two different nouns, right? So the example for this is cat clock. So say you come up with cat and clock. You are then supposing that you live in a world where cat clocks exist. And I'm not talking about like clocks that are shaped like cats. I mean, cats are clocks now in this world. You have cat clocks. And so then basically we're going to take I'll probably give us like 2 minutes just to keep it not too long. Supposing that you live in a world where cat clocks exist, what does that mean about the rest of the world? Does that mean that you have to take your clock to the vet now? Do cats eat batteries? And like, what does that mean for the litter box? And so you take your two nouns and you just write as much as you can think of about the world that you have now made for yourself where that item exists. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Cool.
I like it.
Could we maybe just toss out a couple of nouns just in case? So if somebody's like, I can't think of something, they have a couple they can do.
Yeah.
Should we like? I'm gonna pull a couple out of a book or something. Or no? Do you have a suggestion?
Yeah.
No, I was random.
I
don't know.
Had the same like panic, and I rolled some Rory's story cubes, which I can share.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
I rolled a tent, a dinosaur, a tea bag, an axe, and either some very complicated music or a bridge. I think it's actually a bridge upon second consideration. So that's more than two. Sorry, that was not following the rules, Emily.
No, that's good.
People have a
smattering
to choose from.
Okay. All right, here we go. So 2 minutes?
Yes.
All right.
And if you're writing, don't worry about like spelling or structure. If you're just writing down words, totally fine. Like part of this is just to keep the pen moving, which is an exercise that we do in theater and writing anyway. So just throw thoughts out. It's about the spontaneity. It's about being weird. Weirder the better. Okay, you've got about 5 seconds left technically, so finish your last thought. Yeah, so wrap up your last thought. That was 2 minutes. Feel free to share in the chat what nouns you were working with, or if you had anything that you think is particularly interesting. Does any of you guys want to share?
I had eagle bed.
Okay.
So I was thinking about falling asleep while flying, and that the act of sleeping becomes very patriotic in this world. It's like a, part of your duty as a citizen. And that there would be like this built-in alarm clock with like the bird kind of like cawing or whatever. Then I said some things I can't. They're in a little NSFW, so I'll spare that for the
That's
after
fair.
party.
I support it. I had snail cake, which I had to stop myself from thinking about cakes made of snails because that upset me. So this is cake that is made by snails. Like snails are bakers and they have snail jobs and snail consumerism. And they also have snail baking competitions where the snails can win the challenge on the Food Network. But then the snails have to make cakes for people instead of making cakes for other snails, which means that they have to employ like every single snail in order to make a cake big enough. So that obviously then just spirals out until 2 minutes hits. Yeah.
There's some really good ones in the response in the comments. Cookie tree, rake the crumbs in the fall. Lion bread, reimagining the Lion King. Ice cream tears, do they give you brain freezes? They make your face sticky. Do you attract ants when you're sad? Do you need to drink milk to replenish them? Those are So I decided to put, I was just looking around my room and I saw books and hair. So books are woven from hair. Higher quality hair is reserved for sacred religious texts. Stories are woven into the wool of living sheep. Prisoners are punished with their crimes woven into their hair. When their hair eventually falls out, their time is considered served.
Whoa.
Oh no, Nick. No.
Nick, that's fantastic.
I like it.
Mystery library, you check out a mystery which exists in different genres like conceptual, mathematical, psychological, historical, etc. That's a good one.
Yeah. So then hold on to that energy, hopefully, of spontaneity throughout the rest of the night. If you want to, when you go outside later, put more thought towards your world with your nouns and just see if that like weirdness drums up anything different or if it comes up at any point tonight. I'm not really looking for a specific tie to your nouns later on at any point, but if anything specific happens or if anything seems amplified, the dog is losing his mind over there, which is why I'm distracted. He just really wants to leave my room, so he's screaming. So he's not screaming, you'd hear it more. So yeah, just hold on to it, see if anything comes up out of it, or if just the energy amplifies anything, and then hopefully we'll continue. I'll find other exercises for us to do that progress as we go on until eventually I'm making everybody do improv on camera, obviously.
Kai, did you use any of the story cube symbols?
Yeah, I did dinosaur tents. And I thought that camping would require a new kind of consensual relationship. Going to the circus would be scary for new reasons. There's probably a joke about big tops, little something, but my brain is too gone today to finish that sentence. Someone who does stand up, you can have that.
I love how this is also like a peek into our brains, because I'm seeing how all of us approach this differently, and mine is like super philosophical, like just questions. I love that Jeremy like painted this world and it was so visual, and mine's just like an interrogation of the idea. So I did teabag axe. And the beginning is violent, so I'm not going to share that. But do axes now have medicinal value? I can't say that one. Using axes to store herbs. Will your cup now break upon use? Can I use axes as eye masks now? And do I have to cut pieces of wood with their cousins, which are herbs? I think that's all the safe ones.
I really didn't imagine that you guys would come up with so many potentially not safe for work situations when I thought this up. It's because I'm typically playing it with like 6-year-olds, so it's the easiest intro. It's the easiest intro for like children, which is kind of why I feel like children are also really connected with strange things, like at a different level than us, because they're just so ready to be weird about it and like access like a completely different part of themselves. And I think if you're in the right space for it, improv sort of brings that childlike energy back. Even if we're coming up with things significantly more adult, there's still a spontaneity to it. But I like that immediately we all went into completely different headspaces, and also some of it can't be shared.
Well, but the child thing, that actually ties into something that we might see later tonight, right, Garrett? You might have...
we went to the Walker Ames for the Port Gamble Ghost Conference, and I brought my son Yuki there, and I filmed a little bit of that interaction, so I might show that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a part, I think it is related, I think, what we're talking about.
Oh, I love it. I just think about this, when you mentioned Yuki, when we were starting to bring him around for early Luminal Earth projects with us, I remember there was one day you brought him over to my neighborhood lake in Washington, and we were trying to like read tarot and oracle cards to like the energy of the lake, and it was so polluted. We were like, "You're mad? Is this why?" And Yuki was like rolling his eyes at us. Like, you guys are so silly. And so I would love to see this video. I would love to see this growth and how he's approaching everything. Yeah.
He was so ready to go. He was just so ready to go. He was like, let's do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I will say that I'm probably going to have to cut out soon. It's been a while since I stayed up to midnight. So
is there anything you wanted to share before you left? Like what you were working on or anything?
Or where we can find you?
Virtually. Yeah. That one really got me. You can find me here. We zoom in on my here's my computer IP address. So I'm Dex in the Liminal online on just Instagram right now. I'm going to be in the process of doing the blue sky thing, joining the friends over there. I guess like a big project for me right now is I've been Emily. I have to talk to you about this at some point, but I've been working with a haunted theater outside of about an hour from me, and I just did an event there with the Ghost Brothers. It was my first time speaking on a stage, and it was frightening.
No.
But I've been doing a lot of work with the theater, and it's been really interesting. They've been the first like brick and mortar place where I've been able to experiment with photographing and developing on site in a place to kind of contemplate the theory that the longer that the film is on site and exposed, maybe it'll be manipulated by spirit or whomever. So all of that to say, I'm working on some like photo books right now, and they're going to be regionally based of where I am. So a lot of Indiana stuff coming your way, but I think that's about it. And I'll share more about that when that comes. But
I'm going to show up in Indiana now, Bex. I'm just going to show up in Indiana.
The theater's amazing, and it's oh my gosh, I could I could go on forever, but I absolutely love it, and please let me know if you're in the area. Just we'll have access, and it's like 20s and 40s mix themed, and the person who's the project manager is finding like these old artifacts literally every day as they're cleaning out back rooms, and we found like old movie posters in the walls and old film reels, and we're just having an absolute ball. So we'll have to get together on that somehow.
Yes, I'm in Ohio all the time. I mean, my family's in Ohio, so I'm just
oh my gosh, yes, okay. Yeah, we'll connect, and it's an incredible place. So it was like a closing quick story, just like a fun synchronicity, if you will. My partner Cliffy, he actually played at the theater before it was abandoned and restored. I would have to ask him. I think it was 16 years ago. And he has a band picture that he was able to find in this one room that's now called like the ladies' sitting room. It's one of the bathrooms. There's sitting rooms outside, and lots of mirrors and things. Where I chose to first sit down and like develop my film, he was standing in the exact same spot in the photograph. And so we found like a moment in time 16 years apart where we were standing in the exact same position in this wonderful, mysterious theater with lots of history. So that's a fun little thing we've discovered. And he pulled up the photo, and the mirror is still there, the original mirror from his photo. And I just thought it was so wild that we had chosen to stand in the exact same place. And he with his band, me by myself. And to stack on top of that, that was the only place, not to go to human phenomenon, but that was the only place where they had reported any sort of death in the building was in that room as well. So all very fascinating, all very cool. Could talk about haunted theaters forever, but there he is. I'll have to get a hold of that photo and just do like a side by side of us together in time. So.
That is so cool. It's been so awesome to see you and have you here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta figure out how to stay up and do this. It's too perfect. And then I saw the poltergeist thing. Kai, we're just with that. But with that being said, I hope y'all have an excellent rest of your WUFO evening. Happy return. This is so exciting. I think this is, like y'all were saying, much needed right now. So I'm excited to fall asleep to this and to catch up tomorrow.
Thanks for staying up late for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
All right.
Love you.
Love you. This is not a heart. Okay, there we go.
All right.
Okay.
That was so great.
Yeah, so good to see you, Bex. Right.
I just got another text from so Xfinity is so awful. I just got another text from them that said, "Don't worry, your service will be resolved soon." And it's been out now for like 21 hours.
Yeah.
They said that like at hour 2.
Oh, we
cool.
have a Stargazer out right now.
Anything to report?
Yeah, let us know. Let's see.
Speaking of reports,
Yeah, does anyone want? Do you want to give a report?
Oh no, I was just going to say I would love to hear about Kai's trip to Highgate Cemetery because I've always been fascinated by that place.
It was absolutely so magical. I spent a week in London and I thought I was going to go to Highgate with some friends, and it ended up being just me. But if you go on a tour, you can go into the more historic side, which is where Christina Rossetti, who wrote The Goblin Market, is buried. It's where Faraday, the guy who invented the Faraday cage, is buried. Lots of interesting people. Some like famous for lots of different reasons, but it also is kind of infamous for being the site of a lot of nervousness, you might say, about vampires in Victorian London. There's a lot of grave robbing that went on. It's really an interesting place because it was one of the first like large privately owned cemeteries that wasn't attached to a church, and so there wasn't really a long-term plan for maintenance and upkeep, and it has become really overgrown. In its heyday, that it would have been essentially like big grassy lawns with there were only like 3 trees there, and now it's this like really kind of wild or half wild feeling place. And one of my favorite things about it was while we were walking through on the tour, this little fox like ran up and was just like hanging out like it was no big deal, and then went on its way, and I was really excited. And then I was having a coffee like before I went to the other side to see the more modern area, which is where Karl Marx is buried, and George Eliot, and Douglas Adams, who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And these 2 foxes come down and are just like hanging out in the courtyard like it's no big deal. Turned out it was right around the time that a woman who is a fox wildlife rehabber was coming to feed them. She doesn't normally feed wild fox populations, but when she originally got called into Highgate, there was a really bad case of mange in the group of foxes that was living there. So she takes care of them, and they have names. I got to meet Binky and Penny, but it was just a really interesting space, and a space that you've got like extraordinarily wealthy people buried in these like elaborate mausoleums, and you've got like women who Christina Rossetti was like really dedicated to helping, who are buried like in an unmarked grave that you would never know was there, who were like without any like family or money to speak of when they passed. So it was a really cool place. And I came back with a stack of books this big about the symbols on the gravestones and all sorts of really cool stuff.
That's awesome.
My
think
I went to Highgate 2 years ago, and 3 years ago, I don't remember. My favorite grave at Highgate is the one that just says it's the family and it says dead.
Yes, the I think I looked up that grave marker. I have pictures of it, but he's actually kind of a famous graphic artist.
Okay.
Or maybe font designer. But yeah, that one is great.
Like, it's just so fun. There's something that's so funny about it. And it's like, you're like, it shouldn't be funny, but it's like kind of funny. Like, and it was obviously designed that way on purpose. Like,
that's awesome. I just like that there was like, so what I know about it is like from when I was a goth and really into vampires and stuff. But it's cool. It's really interesting because like in the 70s, there was this weird little like subculture of vampire hunters who would prowl around there, and like they got into feuds. It was big, and like in the 1970s, and it was it was like this like almost like this Hammer Films plot of like these bumbling like vampire hunters wandering around in the cemetery at night and claiming they see, you know, spectral figures drinking fox's blood, and you know, it's fascinating. It's really fun to read about.
They did a lot of damage to the crypts and things, which is pretty unfortunate. But luckily, there's a foundation that's helping to take good care of things and keep young hooligans out.
And what is the Victor Wind Museum? Last Tuesday Society. Pardon me as I read from the agenda directly.
I feel like I just gave you like a super long monologue. But the Victor Wind Museum and home of the Last Tuesday Society is a this weird spot in London. They have an absinthe bar up top, and it's kind of part art gallery, part museum of oddities. And they also kind of host regular talks on occult topics and things. I'm trying to think of, there are a lot of not safe for work. Speaking of the theme of the night, apparently. There are a lot of very interesting objects in the museum that would fall into that category, including some scatological specimens, supposedly from some famous people.
Wow.
Huh. So like Marilyn Monroe's poop, like
yes, not Marilyn Monroe's, but yes. I'm trying not to defame anyone, and I don't want to say the wrong name. Oh yes, jars of poop. Hold on, let me go. I'll get a prop.
Oh no. We signed up for this. But here's a question: how is that any different than like you saw a Bigfoot poop on a display in a museum, right? I mean,
yes,
that's a celebrity.
In Cherry Log, Georgia. Cherry Log. It was. Oh, wow.
So here's one of the. So this is actually.
This episode's going to need a trigger warning.
Yeah, this may be the last time we go live on Instagram.
Right. That's some of the collection. That's animal specimens.
Yeah, that's scientific. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, it was fascinating. Mostly like this, also including this guy's pets. Like he was like, I love this friend so much, I'm going to taxidermy them. It was a very interesting collection. It was a very, and like also So it's like a pub upstairs, and then you go down this like very claustrophobic spiral staircase into this like space that is literally just like packed on every side, including the ceiling, with just like someone's eccentricities. It was wonderful and weird and not for the faint of heart.
Wow.
Interrogate somebody else now.
You wrote them on the agenda. I'm trying to, there's. Yeah. Well, I guess I can go since I forced Kai to monologue for an hour. I don't have a ton to report. I'm writing on I started like my own blog, broccolywizard.com, and it's literally like I'm not really always going to post stuff on social media. I'm like, it's literally just for my own personal writing stuff. So I just got a knock at my door. I'll be right back. Somebody else go for a second.
Emily, do you have stuff you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Part of it segues into Port Gamble. So I guess I don't want to necessarily start with Port Gamble. I was in London with my roommate Erica, like literally like a week, maybe a couple of weeks before Kai was. But we somehow didn't know about that museum, and like now I'm mad. Except I go back to London like once a year at this point just to go see theater. Erica and I and her mom did go to York though, which is the most haunted city in England, which is really interesting. And I initially had dragged us there just because I wanted to buy a York ghost, which, hold on, I'll grab one of my guys. So these are York ghosts, and people, they're all unique. Every single one is different. Where's my camera? There he is. So they sell these just in York. They're all handmade in York. And people line up for like 6 hours to get one. And so I was like, I saw it on TikTok, and I was like, why are people lining up to get these ghosts? And then I was like, oh my God, they're so cute. And they're all handmade, and they only sell like 600 or something a day. So then I was like, we got to go to York because I need a ghost. So I had no idea when I was planning that it's like the most incredible medieval. They're so cute, right? But it's this incredible medieval city that is like extremely, like there's a huge intact Roman wall, and there's all these huge castles, and then there's also like McDonald's and a whole bunch of partying college students that are like also right there. So there's this really interesting vibe of like all this ancient like medieval architecture and history, and all these baked in ghost stories, and like every building you walk into there is haunted. And then like also all the bars stay open until 2 a.m. because there's college students everywhere, and they're all screaming. And it's just this weird, like, it seems counterintuitive, but it also seems to work really well. I would immediately have moved there. Like as soon as I stepped foot there, I was like, that feels like the only place where I ever should have been. And they have it touts itself as the world's first ghost tour that's been running since like the 60s or something. And the tour guide there was telling me that in the 60s, they had something called the Ghost Wars. And the Ghost Wars were basically all these other tour groups that started to pop up that then got into fights with each other. And I mean, like full on like fisticuffs, like brawls, and like papering the entirety of York with these like flyers, so that people couldn't even like walk in the streets because there were just flyers everywhere. And it's just so fascinating to me. And I would have spent forever there. Also, the ghosts were like not super, super expensive. So I would have bought 40 but they're different every day you go. So I need to go back. Anyway, that was a whole lot of rambling about York and how I would spend forever there. I have we're going to continue down the theater path, see what happens there with the weirdness. What else? I guess, like, I don't know. Should I jump into Port Gamble? Do we want to?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Port Gamble is always really interesting. We have gone there, I think, 3 years in a row now. And every time that I have been, the interesting thing about the Walker Ames for me, well, I'll start. Okay. See, this is why you shouldn't just let me talk, because I start in one place and then I end up in another place. But I guess that's just how talking works. So, so I have been experimenting every year at Port Gamble in an ongoing fashion of doing like an Estes method and using like my watercolor pens or like markers to just sort of draw out or like write down the words of whatever I happen to hear while I'm doing the Estes method. And I took paint this year instead. And so it was much messier. And I'll see if I can pull any of it up. It's on my Instagram if I can't. Yeah. So I investigated this year in the museum and in the Walker Ames. So basically it's basically where I just go crazy with acrylic markers and I pull out different colors or whatever, because I can't even see because I let myself be blindfolded. Like I said, it's on my Instagram.
Mothman.
Yeah, that's what you guys immediately. It's so funny because Yuki was like seeing all these. He would have gone on for 40 minutes, I think. He just like looked at it. He was like, this is this and this is this, and like here I see this word and like this is this word. So he was really interesting because he saw a whole bunch that I didn't see. But that's something that I have been trying to play with, and I've never made myself sit in the attic of the Walker Ames because it gives me anxiety for some reason. The house like really gives me anxiety. And so every time I go up into the attic, immediately my entire body is like, you have to leave the attic right now. Like you can't be up here. So then I panic and I have to like leave the attic immediately. And then I sometimes start to calm down once I'm on the second floor, but usually I have to get like all the way out of the house before I calm down. And it's interesting because I just have anxiety in general, but also like Erica, who is always with me, gets absolutely no sense of like any of that really. So, and our other friend, Michelle, who has been with us in the past, usually aligns more with me. So she will align with whatever I am feeling and agree. And the last 2 years that we went was before I started my anxiety medication. So I started anxiety medication in the middle of the two sort of ghost conferences. And so I was thinking that this year, because I have that anxiety medication, that my anxiety wouldn't like spike like that because I'd be able to keep it under control. So the goal was to make myself sit in like the attic of the Walker Ames and just like do my thing and see how long I could like sit there, because then like now I should be more capable of like working through my anxiety instead of panicking. But I think I felt like it was half an hour long that I was sitting up there. I think it was maybe only 10 minutes tops before every bone in my body was like, you have to like leave the attic right now. So I like threw all my stuff into a bag and I was like, we got to go. And Erica was like, oh, okay, we're going. Cause she was just, I think, waiting there next to me cause she's my human safety blanket. And so then when I was like, okay, we got to go, we went down the stairs and I ended up in like a corner room that I felt for some reason that I was like really trapped in. And I was like, we just need to get out of this spot, right? Like, I don't know how to get out of this spot. We just have to be out of here right now. And I could not be in that bathroom for some reason, which is, I think, where we were cornered. So I made myself move like out, like through a different doorway, and I had to go around. And Erica was like, okay, I got to go back to that bathroom and see if I can pick up why you're so upset right now, which of course she wouldn't. And I fully felt like I was having a heart attack until I hit like the ground floor of the Walker Ames. And this is only noteworthy because I was talking, there's some guys that are making a documentary about it, and I was talking to one of the guys after the fact, and he had me walk through the entire thing and said that that's interesting because multiple people have had that same like escalation as far as their experience went. And for me, it was also kind of affirming in a weird way, because I really thought that that sort of that lock in emotionally, which is how I normally get, like I thought that those emotions would be like dead now that I'm on anxiety medication. So the fact that they're not, and that I can like still plug into a space somehow, was kind of affirming in a weird way. It was like, oh, okay, so like I still am like on a level with the universe that's like what I should be, like what I'm used to picking up on. I don't know. It's hard to describe. That was a lot of words for, yeah. But it was interesting, you know, and then Yuki completely just was having the time of his life. He was just so excited to be there. But I don't know why. I can't even pinpoint it. But it's interesting. Someday I'll explore it more, but I'll have to make myself sit in the attic for more than 10 minutes.
I think anxiety medication is great. And also, it's like when it's working well, it doesn't override reasonable experiences of anxiety. And like, it sounds like, despite the fact that you couldn't see with your eyeballs something to give you that sense, that your body was still like, no, this is still real. Like, this isn't just us overreacting. Like, for real.
Yeah. It was nice that I was like, oh, okay, I do still exist. Like, that's great. Yeah.
So were you guys there at the same time? Were you and Garrett like in the attic at the same time?
No.
Yuki? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure how they had it set up. Like if you could just.
They had different scheduled tours, you know, like a chunk of people could be there. And there was kind of, when we went, there was a big group of people that are kind of spread out through the whole space. So this is a house that is supposed to be the Washington's most haunted place. It's in a little town, like a little tiny town that only has like 20 buildings in it. And they're all like old Victorian. They haven't changed. And this is the big mansion. And we have a video on our TikTok of us doing Estes in the basement with Bex and someone else, both under, and we were talking to something, and we asked it its name, and two people that are completely under, with blindfold and headphones. One said Steven and one said Steve in response. So this is in that house, and it was like supposedly a little boy. That was kind of what we were getting when we were doing the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because our friend Sierra, who maybe is in the chat here, she was at the conference too, and she got kind of separated from the party that she was with. She was like in a class, I think. She should probably come talk about this, but basically she got separated, and then she came up the stairs and she saw something on the stairs.
Ooh,
like
wow.
Something kind of duck behind the banister, I think, kind of grayish. So she ended up not even going up to the attic with the group and just stayed by the stairs and kind of tried to interact with this thing. And I can't remember how she came to this conclusion on her own that it was kind of a kid entity. Mm-hmm. So when Yuki came, my 10-year-old, 11 now, he really picked up on that and was trying to communicate with this kid entity because he's, a kid. So I could show this video real quick.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Us going in there. It's kind of dark, so it's hard to film in there, but let's see. Where is it? I think it's this one.
We're in Port Gamble, the what's it called?
The Walker Ames.
At the Walker Ames spot. And we're going to hunt some ghosts.
I think that was a kid's room back there.
Please turn that down, Dad. Is this place your home? Like, was this your home when you were alive?
in this closet by himself in the dark.
That was an interesting time. I got to talk with a little boy ghost.
Did it tell you anything, any information?
A little.
Did you feel connected to?
Yeah, definitely.
Out of curiosity, when you were using the dowsing rods, did you feel anything in your body, like a little more grounded or like weighty or light?
My hands. I didn't move my hands, but my hands felt something on them.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like they felt like something was like all covering them, like a blanket.
Interesting. Yeah. For me, it feels like almost a little buzzy in a way, but it could feel different for everyone.
So according to this natural, I'm also a natural. That ghost was a kid like me, so
Common ground.
It seemed like at the end you said you wanted to come back.
yeah, I do.
Yeah, so well there's a part in the attic where he actually there's like a closet and then a closet within that closet, and he went in there by himself for like 8 minutes in the dark. And I lasted like 10 seconds. I could not do that at all. I was terrified. But he had like no problem. And to me, this is really surprising because he's not really shown any interest in any of this. He kind of makes fun of me all the time about this. But for some reason, he took really seriously. Yeah, like I think he felt like that's not his natural way. When he was talking about the little boy, he got really like choked up about it, which I thought was really interesting. Like he really wanted to like bring a gift to this boy for Christmas, and I think it was just really cool to see that. I was really into it. And what was I gonna say? Oh, another thing. Anyway, I just thought it was a cool experience. Oh, they were also having, people were doing stuff and nothing was really happening. And then when we came back down, apparently like Yuki was interacting and things like picked up and like he was having responses, and like he had like a crowd of adults around him I couldn't film that part, but there's a big group of people and they're all like waiting on bated breath as he's like interacting with this thing. It was, I don't know, it was just really neat. So I think.
Does anything like that run in your family? Like The Shining? I don't know.
I mean, Amber's a little psychic, but yeah. This is Sierra, who was in the video too. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it was cool. I'm hoping that he will come do more stuff with me and stop making fun of me for believing in Shrimpy. So. This.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, they've been Yuki and my son Nicholas were out with us for the Drone Gnome,
right?
Which was one of our first sort of like official sort of field trips, and like that was pivotal. Like Nicholas still talks about it to this day.
Right. Oh yeah, Jared, you took a photo at the basement. Yeah. We were talking to Steven, the little boy.
I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, because I was like, yeah, I could stand over here and can I take your picture? And so give me a couple seconds. Yeah. I'll take it out.
Did you have anything else you want to talk about with Port Gamble, Emily?
Yeah. God, I don't know. I feel like I spilled most of it. It was incredible to meet Sierra, who I just like happened to, we didn't even have to like text each other. We just like happened to be next to each other in one of the rooms. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's most of it. But like definitely my Instagram is Mothman Believes in You. So if you are following me, or if you're not following me, go look at my pictures that I painted and see if you can find any of the things that Yuki happened to find, because I think he had an ongoing list of like 40 items in those paintings that I didn't intentionally paint, that I was like, oh yeah, oh huh. So yeah.
I think it's interesting we've come full circle to like the childlike wonder having kind of a unique insight into the paranormal. I was just listening to, I think, the latest episode of the Spirited Spirits podcast. They were talking about spooky kids, but it made me think of like, I was totally a spooky kid. I was a kid who like saw like hallucinated gnomes on the ceiling. Like I feel like y'all probably also have some spooky kid stories.
I found it. It's kind of hard to. It's going to be really hard to see. I think I'll probably have to post it. You know what? I'll post it on Blue Sky from the Liminal Earth account so that you can see it. The story behind it is, well, first of all, we were in the basement at the Walker Ames, and like there was this intense Estes method kind of activity going on. And like Garrett and I were trying to talk to the ferns and the all these plants growing down there, and we were like, what are these plants? So there's lots of ferns and stuff down there, and that was cool. But at some point during the session, I asked if I could take the kids' picture, and said sort of stand over there by this radiator, and there's this weird sort of cloud that you can see hanging out above the radiator in this picture. So I will put that up on Blue Sky under the Liminal Earth account so you can see it.
Yeah, super weird.
All right, Walker Ames picture.
I was going to talk about something. I've been reading this book. I don't know if anyone else has read this. The Artist. You have your copy?
Copy right there. Look at it. Hey.
The Artist's Way. I don't know if anyone else has read this. I'm still at the beginning of it. I haven't got through it, but I've started doing some of it. And basically, one of the things that you do with this is you do this thing called artist morning pages. Sorry, where you just write 3 pages of anything. You could write, I'm writing 3 pages. I'm writing 3 pages. You could write anything, although, and you're not. What's cool about it is you're not supposed to show anyone, and it's not even like, from what I understand, it's not even like supposed to be read by you again. Go ahead.
There's a week. I'm re-going through it because I did it when I was like I did it like over a decade ago. There's a week later on where you go back and you read your morning pages, but it's not until like the end.
Right. Which is, I just think I don't know. And one of the things is you're trying to kind of, I'm probably going to ruin this or whatever, but you're kind of trying to uncover like where maybe sources of shame about creativity come from, like why you're blocked. But also it's kind of woo-woo, some of the stuff in here. But there's also this other aspect where like after you're kind of like purging all this stuff out, and it's been really interesting writing and what kind of comes out while I'm writing, and how I have like no fear when I'm writing because I know that no one's going to ever read this. There's no audience. And so it's been really fascinating to me. And then later you're supposed to do these artist dates where you take yourself on a date and like kind of look for synchronicities, and it's supposed to be, from what I understand, like, you know, you're kind of exporting stuff out of you in your morning pages, and then your artist date is a time for like synchronicities and kind of like downloads from the universe. So yeah, I've been kind of doing this, and I've been wondering about how we can incorporate it into WUFO. Just wondering if people wrote and kind of purged themselves in the similar way before, kind of like what we just did with this improv activity. And then like maybe that would help during WUFO being able to get more downloads. But I wanted to tell this story real quick of when I was on my artist date, because something really weird happened. The only time I've actually done it, it was really weird. To me, it was very weird. Because I've been, so I was writing the stuff about this experience I had in Fremont, which is an area of Seattle. I've probably told the story on WUFO before, but when I first moved to Seattle, I was with all my coworkers from the grocery store, and we were all drinking, and we're up on this hill, and I was like, "Universe, give me a sign," and I was like being really like, over the top, and then we like climbed and we slid down this hill, and I got to the bottom, and I had lost my wallet, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I have like, that's all my money. That's like my identification. I don't have ID anymore, like what? And so I like was freaking out about this. And so the next day we went back up to the hill, and we went in the daylight looking for it, and I found my wallet only because that day I had put a sticker on it that was bright orange, and it said skinless, and it was like a sticker from the meat department, like boneless, skinless, So that was the reason why. And so I was thinking about this because I've been thinking about the peeled oranges and how they're skinless and they're orange, and if there's some relationship to that. And I was on my artist date, and I was thinking about all that. And I passed by my old house where I lived with my friend Brant. And I was like, oh, my friend Brant used to live there. I remember he wrote a letter in the morning one day, and he said, he left our house, and he said, I'm going to drive to Santa Rosa to go pick oranges off of a tree. And I was like, what? That like connected with the oranges. And I was like, this is so weird. I totally forgot about that. And then I got to this show I was going to on my artist date, and I walked into the show, and it was like this hardcore band that was playing called Hers. And the stage was totally empty. And there was a guy with like a shaved head standing at the front of the stage, and he turned around, and his shirt just said skinless across his chest. And I was like, what the fuck? I like totally freaked out, like, because like the whole point of the date or whatever is to be looking for these things, and this is like what I'm thinking about. And like that word is not, to me, a common word to see like on someone's shirt. Anyways, so I've been like really excited about this. Like I think I don't know how this works exactly, but to me this seems like something WUFO-ish, like a technique that we can maybe employ. Anyways, and I actually I wrote about it because anyways, I just think I don't know how we could use it, but I think that there's something here maybe kind of like purging and then allowing new downloads. Anyways, that's all.
I think it ties in really well with everything that I have been thinking about as well. Right. I think they overlap pretty highly. So it does feel sort of like the play aspect, the reconnecting aspect, because it is a way. I mean, the morning pages really are a way of it's basically supposed to like exit, like everything that you're thinking about exits in the morning, so that you have the space in your head then to receive instead of like sending out basically all the time. And so I think that, embracing the act of making yourself a receiver, but like in a playful manner. I think that feels like where we're headed. I don't know how specifically to say that in less words or like in a single line that makes sense to anyone but me. But yeah, no, it feels like a general direction.
Right.
I was also thinking, and this actually it brings up something that I was going to mention before my dog started acting like a turd, and I had to bring him in here. The relationship between kind of what we're doing and like art.
Mm.
And we've talked about that before too. And like, so the artist way kind of comes into it. And I think like somebody who I think is awesome, who kind of approaches this subject in that way is Alan Moore. He has some issues. There's definitely some issues. Like he's a stodgy, like curmudgeonly guy. And he's into like ceremonial magic, Golden Dawn style stuff. Like that's kind of one of his things. But he also like worships a like 1st century snake god that was very well known to be a hoax. But he says he doesn't care it's a hoax. Like it was
Right.
like it was like a god that made sense to him. It was like a puppet of a snake, like a and his whole philosophy is like, this is art. This is the kind of things that we're doing here are art. Like the magic and the phenomenon and how you engage with it and all that stuff. Like it's art. And he wrote this new book that I was going to mention. It's really fun. It's the Moon and Serpent Bumper Book of Magic. Like it's this huge.
Wow. But
it's like a kid's book. It's like one of those like what to do on a rainy day, like that kind of thing. And of course, because he is a comic book artist, he think there's comics in it. But one of the coolest things that sorry, I don't want to hijack the conversation.
I know.
But you can sort of see how he's got like Hermes and I don't know who that is, maybe Cellini or something, like hanging out with kids while they cut up paper. And the funny thing is that like it does seem silly, but like that he's saying like this is play. Kids are good at this. This is art. And so he's got all these exercises through it that like are designed to teach you magic as though you're reading like a what kids do on a rainy day thing. Like the first one, I haven't finished the book, but the first exercise I think is really cool because it comes up back to what he like the serpent god thing. He says, to start an altar, but in order to start an altar, make your god, like make a statue, make it like it could be like maybe you're a devotee of like Hermes, then sculpt Hermes. Maybe it's like Anthor. Maybe it doesn't even have a name. It's just like an artistic expression of you and your concept of what your deity would be that you want like central on your altar. But he says like use like toilet paper tubes and like Crayola crayons and stuff if you want to. Like that's
right.
That's kind of the deal. So I was also thinking one fun activity might be, and I brought this guy because of it, for like a homework assignment, which is for everybody watching to find something. And it doesn't have to be anything, but like it doesn't have to be like a god or something, but like make like some little dude like this, like turn a stick into like a cool little guy. Because it will make you look at the stick differently. And it'll be like this sort of act of like creating an entity in that sense. So I'm going to give that challenge to everybody from that book. And you just tag us WUFO.
Yeah, I love it. Homework.
If you can't be a cool little guy, make yourself a cool little guy.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Oh, or I think I might have shown this before, but I have this stick that I love because it cracks me up. It looks like a tiny pair of cowboy pants. Like, hello, howdy, partner. I also would like to see objects that people have like that. Like if you have a stick that looks like cowboy pants, or a rock that looks like a kangaroo, or something like that. So, all right, I'm done.
I was going to say one other thing about this morning pages thing that I think is interesting. So I was writing in the morning pages, and as I'm writing, I'm realizing I'm writing stuff that I know, but I feel like I'm writing it for, like, I'm almost putting it out there for like the creative source of the universe to like be able to see it, you know? So it's not, I'm putting it outside of myself. But there's not really an audience, so no one's ever going to read this. But I had this dream, while I was doing this, and I was in school again, and one of my favorite like Sufi teachers and professor, it was someone like him. He was like, okay, everyone get your journals out and start writing, you're doing your morning pages. And like, here's the prompt. I'm like, wait, I just want to write how I usually write them, like, I don't want a prompt. And he's like, oh, don't worry, Garrett. And like, I read your journal every day. It's great. Just keep doing what you're doing. And he kind of like looked at me like, I read it. And I was like, I freaked out. Like, and I woke up like 4 a.m. because this thing, like whatever it is reading my journal that it's like supposed to be like no one reads, And I don't know if this is like it felt like the universe was like acknowledging like, no, I'm the reader of it. You need to write in there like you're doing. Almost like I need to do it. I need to put it out there in order for any of it to work. I just thought that was interesting. It was just like a weird mechanic. It freaked me out though. Legit, like kind of like felt invasive in a way. Anyways, I just think it's something that we should experiment with somehow, because I've been surprised by the results of it. Anyway,
Do you have any ideas yet as to how we could? Like, if you
I don't know. Like maybe before WUFO, just doing, a page, whatever, of just anything, just writing, kind of doing that kind of purge. And you don't have to share anything. And maybe if we did experiments and stuff and something somehow connected, that, then maybe we could share. But like otherwise we just kind of leave it, just do that purging, some kind of writing. I think you have to actually write it. And I think with your hand too, if you can. I mean, obviously not everyone can do that, but if you can,
that is one of the things that she advises in the book is that if you can physically write it out, that's the best way to do it. If you have to type, you can, but you're not supposed to.
Yeah. It exercises a different part of my brain for sure while I'm doing it. But I think I'm just curious if it will help kind of this in the same way, like activate the synchronicity and weirdness stuff happening. So to me, like maybe next time, if everyone who wants to come next time, we'll have this homework of making little figures and this, and then we'll play another game. I just think that might help. I don't know. I'm curious about it.
Show us your pet rocks.
That's right. I'm going to turn everybody into, like an animist by the end of this. Oh, yeah. You're going to be seeing, like, faces in your pencil cases. I think it was Karen, maybe, was asking about how to make UFO water.
Oh. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so it's very simple. It's like moon water or something like that. You would just grab get yourself a vessel that's open at the top and give it out on Wednesday, because chances are aerial entities of some kind statistically are going to fly over and give that sort of energy to the UFO water. We've done that, and like I don't know, I wouldn't ever say that we honestly started something as a joke, but like this was just like one of those things that seemed to make sense. And we've had now people who, like Emily, watered their corn, right? With UFO water, and it sprouted. But you didn't know there was corn in there? Wasn't that?
No, I didn't. It was like, I know it took me a while to figure out it was corn. I could tell that something had sprouted, and I don't even know where that was the thing. I don't even remember where I got the corn from. Like
it was the crows and the birds had planted it for you.
Yeah. And so I was already like training the crows in my backyard. And so I was beckoning. So then I was like, okay, well, I don't know what this was. So then I just started to water it with the UFO water and the corn. And then it sprung up and it was corn. And I was like, how the hell did I get corn in like that shouldn't have happened. And it worked really well until the corn died on, as it does.
I still have a big ol' portion of UFO water from the Thunder Supermoon on July 13th of 2022.
Wow.
Good thing, folks. UFO water doesn't expire.
That's a fine vintage.
Keep it right here. Safe.
Well, I still have, when we did our aerial entity summoning ritual, I actually used UFO water for that. And this is like, let's say I haven't opened it in like a really long time. That's another one. And that one's on our site. It's there's this sort of spell that cunning men used to do. And they were called cunning men, cunning folk, to call down an angel into a bottle. And so I thought, well, angels are kind of aerial entities. So how can we like call down aerial entities into a vessel, but do it in our way, which is like, because in the old magic spells, it's like, I command you by the name of the Lord to, and that's kind of not how we roll. So ours is like invite them in. And so we summoned in entities by putting some kind of like sweet treat, sacrifice, honey kind of thing like that, and some plants from outdoors into a bottle. And what we're actually doing then is we're starting the fermentation process. And you have the yeast that's on the plant material from outside, and you have whatever there's sweet in there. And so the yeast are going to eat the sweet thing, and that's what starts fermentation. So if the fermentation takes, you have actually invited an aerial entity into this bottle. And there you go. And if it didn't take, then, you just try again next time. So not only are you summoning an entity into a bottle, you're also learning how to make like sauerkraut or fermented soda or kefir or something like that.
You may also think that that no entity accepted your invitation to live in your vessel and then postpone cleaning up said vessel for long enough that you realize that one has moved in there after all.
That's exactly right. Oh, if the fermentation takes, if it gets fizzy, like if it bubbles, because that means the yeast are eating the sugar and farting, basically. And that's kind of how it works. So, I think I'll have some sauerkraut now. Cool. Go ahead.
Were you gonna suggest we all make UFO water tonight? Is that?
Yeah. Why don't we do that? Let's just do it. Let's start a new vintage.
Yeah. We wanted to talk about any of the other past experiments?
I could. I think I was just kind of thinking of some of the. Well, what do you think out of the ones?
You should say what happened to the mushroom ink.
Yeah, that's right. So I had a crystal ball full of mushroom ink, and I made these little cubes, and they all have letters on them, and they're on wood. They're wooden. I just got them from the dollar store or whatever. And so I put them into the crystal ball with the mushroom ink and turned it down, and it was kind of like this mushroom ink magic 8-ball with letters that would float to the top, and then you could kind of look at the letters and try and figure out if they said anything or spelled anything or had a numerological value or whatever. So the thing is that mushroom ink is one of the most disgusting smelling. Did I make you smell it when you were over here, Garrett? Was it like smell it?
You left some here, and I accidentally spilled it. It's horrible.
Oh,
Better or worse than pickle creamer cocktail?
Yeah, I'm maybe biased in this situation.
Well, given the choice to drink the two of them, I'll take the pickle.
Yeah.
Any day. So to seal this stuff into this crystal ball, I had to use saran wrap and a system of levers and pulleys. But the saran wrap sprang just this little tiny leak, and it wasn't a huge leak, but it was enough so that you could start to smell it. And so I had to like take it off, and then I dumped it out, and like all the cubes, because they were never stained or treated or anything, so they were all getting moldy and like kind of rotted looking and gross. Anyhow, I don't have it in the crystal ball anymore.
I feel like you should have filled all of that in with resin and just preserved it in its moldy secret state.
Next time. The other thing that we did more recently that I thought was kind of fun, and there's a link to the ritual for it, is paleo scrying, where we thought it would be interesting to try and contact the ghosts of dinosaurs using motor oil as a medium, or any other sort of petroleum based like plastic or Vaseline or something like that. But we use motor oil that night. And there's a link to the ritual in there and everything. So of course you need UFO water for it.
Obviously.
I remember we got some pretty good results from it too. That and the mushroom ink ball. I remember I was very surprised that the words that came out of that were like very significant.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of a kind,
I'm posting the dinosaur one on Blue Sky. Do we want to do any sort of, because it's already 9:45.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we want to do any. Oh wow, an orange dinosaur.
Huh?
You're on mute. You're just talking at us on mute.
No, I didn't even think he was relevant until now, but he's been hanging out on my desk the whole time.
Wow.
I got orange slice ice.
Oh,
nice.
Good job. Good job, everyone.
As we were texting, confirmed that it really was time to bring WUFO back. A squirrel ran across the power line right outside my window, carrying not a like clementine, a full ass orange.
Whoa!
Like, a third of the way peeled, just like bloop, 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 bloop. And I was like,
did you tell us this? I
think I texted it to you.
I must have missed that, because that's like a slap in the face. That's like totally.
Yeah.
They're letting us know.
It happened so fast I didn't even get a chance to like get a picture or anything. And then I was like, this is how we don't have pictures of Bigfoot. Squirrel running away with an orange.
That's incredible.
Wow.
You had the idea, actually, this is maybe related to an activity of for a side quest of looking out for animals. Is that, or what was it exactly, Kai? I think.
Oh, I was just thinking, like, I mean, I don't know if this has happened to y'all, but I've definitely gone out to like look up, and a family of raccoons and I startled each other, or like, I think there's an opportunity to pay attention to the last tree in your yard that still has leaves on it, or the mushrooms that cropped up since the last time you paid attention. Like, I'm not sure if I necessarily have like a one unifying theory of the thing we could look for at this specific juncture, but I just think that it could be interesting to kind of report back on what backyard friend we encountered, and if there are any synchronicities kind of amongst those things we might notice.
Yeah,
that's great. Sign me up.
I think this is I'm gonna go do that. Yeah,
cool.
Keeping my eyes out.
All right. Well, why don't we go? Because it's almost 10. It's 10 till 10. Everybody that way can have a chance to get their vessel of water.
Yeah.
Do you think adding anything to the water, or like speaking over it or anything, would help? Or I guess you don't even really have to.
I think I got this fancy agate after the king tides out at Oceanside. I think I'm gonna put this in some water to UFO it up.
That sounds awesome. Cool. Well, this was a blast.
Yeah. So we're gonna come back in 2 weeks. Is that the plan?
I think that makes sense. I mean, next week is like the
Right.
night before Thanksgiving and stuff, so
right.
Probably not the best night anyhow. So, but yeah, let's come back in 2 weeks, and then we'll still post things. Like if you make some little person, a little,
Yeah.
or if you have tiny cowboy pants or something like that, just post it and tag us, like #WUFO. I think hashtags work on Blue Sky, right?
I think so.
I don't know. Just let us know.
And thanks for everyone for coming.
Yeah.
It's so good to like hang out with everyone again. And if people have ideas for group experiments or want to come on, just let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we love having people on. So it doesn't matter like who you are. If you're like, I'd love to come on and hang out, then let us know. Yes, donate to the Transgender Law Center. And
yeah,
See y'all in 2 weeks. Don't forget to look up.
Yeah.
Let us know if you see anything.
Yeah.
Happy
#WUFO.
snacking.
Bye.
Bye.